We've arrived in the continent of Africa. So today we're going to have a go at making our own djembe drums. So hopefully you will have seen the list of resources that we're going to need today to help us with this activity. So to begin with, the first thing that we're going to need to do is to get our 2 balloons, and really carefully we're going to need to cut this part off of our balloon, just like that. So really careful as you're cutting. There we go. And then either you can use tin cans or you can use plant pots. Now I'll just show you the ones that I've already made. So this one I've used 2 plant pots to get the shape of the djembe, and you can see that that then kind of curves in to give you that nice shape of the djembe. Or if you don't have plant pots, you can use tin cans, and that's going to be how I'm going to demonstrate it today, because I think it's probably more likely that you've got some tin cans at home. So I'll leave that up to you, whichever you decide. So now that you've got your first balloon ready, whether you're using plant pots or tin cans, I'd like you to carefully put your balloon over the top of the opening of the can. So hopefully your tins are nice and washed out and haven't got any sharp edges on the top. Just be really careful. And you're going to stretch that balloon over the top. Now this one has gone on really well the first time. Oh, as I say that, it's slipping off a little bit. If you find that it doesn't go on the first time, it keeps slipping off, just cut a little bit more off of the balloon and just give it a bit more of a stretch. I've had a few practices with this, and I'm just going to I'm going to take mine off, because you can see I've got a little bit of a dip in that. There we go. So I'm just going to take that off again, and I'm going to do what I suggested. I'm going to cut a little bit more of that balloon off, because I want that top part of the drum where we're going to make the sound to be nice and flat. So I'm going to have another go. Oh. You may need an adult for this activity. There we go. So it's a little bit tricky. There we go. That's better. You can see that the surface is really flat, and I've got that balloon all the way around the outside of that tin. And you can just give it a little bit of a tap to make sure that that balloon is staying nice and firm on there. Once you've done one can, you'll need to do exactly the same with your other one. So again, really carefully cut that part off of the balloon, the thin part, so you've got the bit where the air would be filling up that balloon. Again, put that nice and securely over the top. If it does ping off, just keep going. Oh, there we go, you can see. Don't worry, just have another go. Oh, stretchy, stretchy. Oh! Oh, there we go. I did say you do have to be quite determined to get these on. There we go. That seems to be fitting this time. Oh, and I can see my other one slipping off a little bit there. There we go. So now that we've got both of our balloons on top of our tin cans or your plant pots, you're going to need to get your sellotape. You might like to use sellotape, or if you've got something stronger like duct tape, you could use that, but sellotape does work just as well. So now what you're going to need to do is get that sellotape and put it all the way around the top to cover that balloon, and then onto the tin can to make sure that the balloon doesn't slide off of the top of the drum when we go to play it. So you need to put that tape all the way around, please. I wonder if anyone's had a go at playing a djembe drum before, or if you've got some musicians amongst you that maybe even play drums. So I'm just going to make sure, there we go, I can see there's a little bit there where I haven't put my tape. And then just check all the way around to make sure that you've got that tape covering that balloon. Okay. And you might like to just play it to make sure that it's in place. Number 1 done. And then you can move on to your second. There we go. Has anyone travelled to Africa before? There we go. I'm sure you're doing a really good job with your tape as well. So again, once you're happy that you've got that tape all the way around the outside, give it a play just to check. There we go, so we've got part 1 complete. Now what we're going to do is we need to join our djembe drums together, or join our tin cans together to form that djembe, I should say. So you may need an adult to help you. You want to hold those nice and securely together and put that tape across both of the tins where they would join and attach together. So that tape needs to go all the way around the centre to keep them in place. And that sellotape does seem to be holding it really well. And once you're happy that that's joined really securely, you've got the main part of your djembe drum today. So now it's going to be up to you to decide how you're going to decorate your drum. I did give you a few examples of the different things that you might like to use. So you can have a little look. I've used some patterned paper on this one. I've put a bit of corrugated paper around the middle to give it sort of a separation of sort of dynamics and design. This one, I used tissue paper just because I found that because of the shape of the plant pots, I wanted to make sure that I kept that same shape when I covered the paper. So I've just ripped tissue paper up, and that's given that one a really nice outside as well. You might like to use some patterned paper. There's some tissue paper. You might like to use some felt maybe. And again, that would, if you cut that to the correct size, that would be really good as a way of wrapping it around the drum. Some plain colour paper would be great. Again, some of that corrugated paper. So the best thing to do would be to get a ruler and just mark that along the edge to make sure that it's going to be the right size, and then you'll be ready. Once you've checked that sizing, you'll be ready to wrap that, and then you could cover it with maybe some gems. I've got some, again, some more gems here, or you might like to use some sequins, some ribbon or some string. You might have some stickers as well, just like this one, or some star stickers. However you would like to make your djembe look personal and look vibrant and colourful to represent that continent of Africa. So whilst you're carrying on decorating yours, I'm going to pass you over to my friend Paul, all the way from Uganda, who's going to explain a little bit more about the djembe drum. And then again, once you've created your djembe drum, he's also going to teach us a few patterns and a few rhythms that you might like to join in with as well. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the next part of this djembe drum workshop. Bye!
Hello everyone, my name is Paul from Uganda in East Africa, and I'm happy to be sharing with you a little bit of information about some of our African drums today. I've been told that today you're going to be learning how to make some drums, and specifically you're going to be learning how to make the djembe. Now there are many African drums out there, but the djembe is just one of them. but it's probably the one that has become the most popular and is the one that is the most known all over the world. Now, as you can see, my drum here is not a typical djembe. This one is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. Now, this is a local traditional African drum, although it's very similar to the djembe in a lot of ways. But I will be using this just for demonstration purposes. Now, typical djembes are made, and all drums generally are made from three materials. There's wood, there's skin of some kind, animal skin, and maybe some string. So a typical djembe, the body of the drum is carved from a single piece of wood, and then the head of the drum is made from either goat skin or cow skin. Now, and then the skin is attached to the drum using strings that go vertically all around the body of the drum. But mine here has been attached using thinner strips of the same skin that was used for the head of the drum. Now, the djembe drum that you're going to be making typically originates from a country called Mali. Mali is found in West Africa. It's a country that's mostly a desert country, and although the djembe originated from Mali, it can now be found in many of the West African countries, but as we just said, all over the world as well. And the people in Mali typically preferred to make their drums from goat skin because apparently goat skin is thinner than the skin of other animals and it sounds better when it's on the drum. So there you go. Now I know today you're not going to be felling any trees to get the wood for the drum, or you're not going to be skinning any animals, thankfully, to get the skin for the top of the drum, but you just have fun with whatever materials that you have as you will be making your drums today. Now, why were these drums made in the first place? The people in Mali made these drums and they used them to make music in local storytelling evenings. Now, these were evenings where the elders transferred knowledge, so they told stories of past battles, they told stories of past heroes to the children, and this was often coupled with music and with dancing, and they also used these drums in other events like festivals in which they would come together to ask the gods to send them the rain. So they had festivals to call the rains. Now remember, I just said that Mali is a desert country, so they used to do this, come together and call the rains. Now thankfully, you don't have that problem in England. But anyway, so that's how they used the drums. In funerals as well, in weddings as well, pretty much any gathering where there was to be any music of any kind. In fact, I remember as a child, now this is in East Africa, our local church did not have a bell to call people to church, but we had a big drum instead that would be beaten, and then you would know that it was time to go to church. And I remember there were two rhythms. There was one rhythm that was played to get people to come to church, and then there was another rhythm that was played if somebody in the village died, and then they played it and you would know, oh, somebody has died now. I'm not going to be teaching you that one today, so thankfully that's all right. You don't have to worry about that. And yeah, so there you go. Now today, back in the day, the people that played typically the djembe were people that were called the griots. Now that's in West Africa. The griots, they were well-respected musicians and they were elders in the communities, and they were the only ones that were allowed to play the drums. Now thankfully today, anybody can become a djembe fola. And that's a new word for you. A djembe fola is anyone that can play the djembe. So remember that, djembe fola. So hopefully by the end of today, you can all become djembe folas. Now, the way to learn how to play an African drums, I'm going to teach you just 2 rhythms today. The way to learn to play an African drum, an easy way, is to use phrases, little phrases that you can remember the words to, and you can drum to every word, or even sometimes to multiple syllables in a phrase. Okay, so take for example the phrase, I would like a cup of tea. I would like a cup of tea. And you can say that phrase in a musical way. So for example, I would like a cup of tea. I would like a cup of tea. If I say it enough times, it almost becomes like a song. Now I can play the drum to every word in that phrase. So this is what it would sound like. I would like a cup of tea. I would like a cup of tea. I would like a cup of tea. So there you go, something like that. Another simple phrase is the phrase walk the donkey. Walk the donkey. Again, you can say that a couple of times and make it musical. Walk the donkey, walk the donkey, walk the donkey. Now, on the drum, that would sound something like this. Walk the donkey, walk the donkey, walk the donkey, walk the donkey. Now you can come up with any other phrases that you like. But for these 2, I would suggest you play them alternately, and you play each phrase 4 times, and then you switch to the other phrase and also play it 4 times, and then you can do that set as many times as you like and have fun with it. So let's try it 4 times each and see what that would sound like. Starting with, I would like a cup of tea 4 times, and then walk the donkey 4 times. So here we go. I would like a cup of tea. 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 Walk the donkey, walk the donkey, walk the donkey, walk the donkey. I would like a cup of tea. And you can make music to that. The more you do it, you get better at it. And also, because you can remember the phrase, you don't necessarily have to say it out loud. And then you can look like a pro when you're playing the drums. So that's it for the information about the djembe drums. I hope this little video has been useful, and I hope you've learned something. So have fun making your djembes today, but most of all, have fun playing them when you've made them. Goodbye.